twice a week instead of once a week.
Okay, so we're going to get into sprint car racing kind of now. And obviously high limit. I don't know if I call it a split so much. I kind of look at this thing a little differently because I sit around all day and think about it. That's either extremely sad or it's my job, so, or both. But because a lot of their guys don't run a full-time series. So that being said, there's a lot of chatter about high limit. There has been over the last year. Yet you retained a big bulk of your roster. You lost basically two guys, Casey Kane. He kind of was on and off. You got to feel good in that you were able to keep a lot of heavy hitters. You just signed Buddy Kofoid, who I think is a star in the making. You have Gio Salzi. You guys did the Sports Center type thing. I thought that was great. You got to be pleased that you were able to keep the bulk of that roster intact.
Yeah, no, that's again we've done what we said we were going to do. We're doing it for the right reason. We've got the right relationship with the racetracks. We've got the relationship. The guys, we lost Brad, you lost Spencer, and I'm not so certain where Chad's interest is going to be this year anyway. For Spencer and Brad makes sense. I mean, he's the owner of the other series. So right. In my mind, you retain people and you keep the relationships because you have a good relationship and you really are trying to provide, and you are providing what you said you were going to provide. We can't change we want to make it better. Again, you see some of the dynamics that we're trying to introduce and we're trying to recreate in sprint car racing through our own vertical integration, through our resources, and trying to create not only a brand for us, but a brand for the race teams that choose to take advantage of those things, and for our marketing partners with Moss and Case and with Milton Hershey Schools and Hoosier and VP and all other 100 of them. You're trying to create the best you can do, and you trying to create an environment that makes their businesses better, makes their brands better. And all of our teams but one did that. They believe that we're still doing that. And that's my job. So I don't see this as a split. I see this as they're creating an opportunity around us. They're creating an opportunity on our coattail. I firmly believe that because we've grown awareness, we've grown opportunity. And if I create opportunity for somebody that I can't take advantage of, then somebody else can take advantage of it, but don't try to do it to my detriment. And I don't think they really honestly and sincerely are, but I just want to make sure I understand what the impact is before I start making radical changes to my business, because right now what we have been doing for the last 20 years seems to be working, and it seems to be entertaining a lot of race fans, and more race fans this year than last year. And that's what my job is. So I'm going to continue to do that. And my team is going to continue to do that in the way we think is best for the industry and best for the sport. And if somebody can fit inside here, that's great. If they want to start taking stuff, then we'll start fighting back. I don't see that really. I don't know yet though, but we're going to do what we're doing right now. We're keeping our racetracks, make sure we do our job, keeping our race fans, make sure we do our job, keeping our race teams, make sure we do our job. And then we're going to carve out whatever is ours. And that's going to be great by me. And I think it should be spectacular for the race fans and great for everybody else involved.
One of the things that has come under fire is the exclusivity. I see both sides of it. I understand what you say. I understand what a driver might say, or a team says, or what Brad says, or whatever. Explain your view on the exclusivity and why that is such a staple of the world of outlaws, whether it's a track, whether it's the team, the 4 races. Now you did give in to the 4 races, obviously. Explain why that is so important to what you guys do.
Well, it's something that we compensate the teams for. So again, if I want to start making radical changes, what do? I looked over at the other screen. Last year across the company, we paid 1.2 million in tow money and 3.4 million in points funds, and those are based on the way we've been doing it is exclusivity. So it's not just the sprint cars, but across the board. So that's the whole piece. But
right.
Our model has been to create an exclusive product. It's what our fans, it's what our promoters pay for. It's what we promote. And that's what has worked for us to date. That's why we've got to keep a very careful eye on this, on how this has an effect, so that I'm planning 5-10 years from now, what do we need to do to maintain our position as the leaders in the sport? and the leaders in promotion and the leaders in streaming and all of those pieces. How do we continue to maintain those pieces and grow them in the way that the fans ultimately want to experience this? And right now, they want to be guaranteed the roster. And and it's not a driver, it is a roster. It is an accumulation of the best in the business, the greatest show on dirt. And that's what I'm trying to navigate and candidly evolve into what the sport wants, what the fans want, what the drivers and teams want. This balancing act I've talked about for a long, long time, and getting that to work. And exclusivity has been a significant component of that way before my time. Ted did this long time
Ted
ago.
was rough.
I'm sorry?
Ted was rough.
Ted did it. That was his guys. And I think in 2003, there were 4 full-time teams. So something we're doing is right. We just continue to do it for the right reasons. And I think we're going to be I know we're going to be just fine. Considering the hills we've climbed before. I'm excited as I can be about 2024 with what we're doing with some of we got a great roster of drivers on the sprint car side, the late model side, the big, all aspects. Summer nationals with the way we've evolved that piece on all aspects of. I know we're getting a little bit further away from sprint car racing, but there's a lot of things that are happening in a very positive way. The viewership is up across the board, and there's no doubt that Flo's working on that, and we're working on that, and we're all, hopefully there's fruits for all of us to bear. My job is to make sure we have the best product and we deliver what we promise.
Little tough here. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Hey, Tom, can you shut that door? Can you shut the door?
Little tougher here. What do you say to people who say, okay, all right, you can't race someplace else on, say, a Tuesday, and because you have a race on Friday or whatever it is, but there's that thought that, that takes people out of the stands Friday, but we don't know that because it's never really been an option way back to Ted and everything else. What do you say to the person is there's no proof of that it hurts the Friday track or whatever? Or is that a track thing when you sign on with them, they kind of request that?
No, I think that our model's been so familiar to our track promoters, they understand that it's a significant component to a Friday track. And candidly, Friday race is harder to sell than a Saturday show. So the Fridays are the ones that are the most critical of not having anything on Wednesday or Thursday in the marketplace. Saturdays are pretty easy. And none of the promotion of any of our shows, none of them are easy, but Saturday is definitely easier than Friday, especially if we're going around. You're right. There's no proof, but that a Tuesday night hurts us. But and the question for me is, do I believe that a Tuesday night is a sustainable model where everybody in balance is good? That model hasn't been proven either. A lot of it has come and gone. Candidly, are the Tuesday night shows that are not focused completely on a TV show, do they make sense to the promoter? Some of them do, some of them don't. Are we promoting them on a sustainable way? In my mind, that's the question that needs to be answered, because everything I hear every time these doors drop, it costs them a lot of money. So really racing more isn't the idea. So we need to make sure we focus our finances on a particular spot. The fans aren't near as flexible on a Tuesday as they are on a Friday or Saturday. That's kind of proven. And some will travel, some won't. So there's a lot of unknown. We were focusing on going from 90 races down to 80 races, and now we're trying to go back to there's 130 races available to everybody. There's going to be some fallout there too. We don't really know until we see what 2 national sprint car touring series looks like. On the late model side, it's been ebb and flow 20 years, and things come and go, and not everything is great. And then you have people come in and insert things that aren't sustainable, and it becomes really hard to manage. So we already have evidence of some of those things working, and some of them really not working, candidly, and being about as broken as they've been in a while. So it's a dynamic that I'm, again, focused on what we do good, do it well, stick, and then make sure that we're evolving and get to the point where it makes sense for everybody. And right now, our fans want, as particular our customers on Friday night, which meaning the track promoters and the fans, they want to know that they're getting the show.
Do you worry? You mentioned late model racing, and Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com live show. We look forward to all your questions in the chat and via phone. I'm not going to do a big intro tonight just because some snow on the ground. We shoveled today. It was great for those in California and Florida. Yes, I like snow. But if you'd like to call the show, just dial up 1-844-543-8589. We'll get to your questions in a second. Just want to do the gratuitous plug for SprintCarUnlimited.com. Some of you have asked for a holiday special. We responded with 20% off through January 1st. Just go to the checkout page, select your year's subscription, and put in the coupon code HOLIDAY 2025, and you can get it for $28 instead of $35. So let's get to the questions and, start firing away. Who is involved in the operation of the PA Posse 410 Sprint Car Series on a daily basis as the decision making? They're trying to get together a board, and I guess you're going to have a representative from each track. Let me slide over here, get it centered. But I think there's going to be a grand poobah, so to speak. I know Jerry Parrish from Lincoln has spearheaded it so far, and I don't know if that's going to continue, but a couple of promoters in the area say that's what happened. And I would say right now, he's the guy to direct your questions to. Just for tonight, every time you refer to the World of Outlaws as woo, you have to say it like the Nature Boy Ric Flair. No. And I never say woo. I say Outlaws or World of Outlaws. Any news on Geo? Not right now. I expect something. I have a phone call coming up with owner or who's going to own it. I expect something around PRI, so next week sometime, and it'll be a done deal. I mean, it's a done deal. I think it's probably like one of the worst kept secrets in sprint car racing, that in the Sheldon deal. So, all right, I just think it's just a matter of getting, the I's dotted, the T's crossed, and I think we'll see something at PRI. IndyCar and CART had their famous split. NASCAR is currently in the middle of antitrust lawsuit. Has there been anything like this ever in the sprint car world, not including there's Woo High Limit. Somebody did it to me on purpose. Actually, that question was in. We've had the split. We had in 1989, we had the USA circuit, which Steve Kinzer, Mark Kinzer, Dave Blaney, guys, Sammy Swindell, they jumped ship and went to USA. It was only like 4 or 5 of them. You had some stragglers. Doug Wolfgang took advantage of both and just beat the hell out of the USA guys and the World of Outlaws guys. That was the year Bobby Davis Jr. won the World of Outlaws title in the Casey Luna car. And then in 2006, you had NST, which was the National Sprint Tour. Steve Kinzer again left. Danny Lasowski, I believe, won the title. Tim Kading ran it in that team car to Kinzer. And some other guys obviously ran the series. So we've had splits twice. As far as any antitrust stuff, I might talk about that on a 90 at 9 this week. I know there's been some concern or some, I guess, jabs taken that high limit deal is going to be like the NASCAR problem, and it's not even close. But again, I'll probably address that maybe on a 90 at 9 this week, depending what comes out, if anything comes out. I'm a yearly subscriber to Flow, like many in this region are. I do buy pay-per-view on some local 410 events. To me, Dirt Vision is out of line with their pricing. To the point, the Grove is on Dirt Vision, but the run as the All-Star Circuit of Champions, which is on Flow. Get where I'm going.
So they must be a way around Track's agreement with who they stream with. I think it's just understood if a series comes in, you use their streaming service. And Flow and Dirt Vision both understand that. I mean, when you have Let's Race 2, you have to switch back and forth. So, and it's pretty, I mean, from a contractual standpoint, I know the one year, I think it was Flow, might have shown World of Outlaws Hot Laps, and it was a big deal. It was a big problem. So I think it's just understood when a traveling series comes in, that's what you use, and there's not much of a fight between Flow and Dirt Vision. It's probably the thing they agree on the most, I would say, at this point. So I know this could be a problem with the PA Posse series at some places. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But yeah, it's not a big deal for traveling series. You just use whatever the traveling series has, even if it's a joint venture or a shared show. Hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate it. Any idea what the streaming cost is for PA Posse TV will be? I thought I read it would include all of Lincoln events as well. I don't know if it's going to be a pay per race or an overall, streaming fee where you pay one flat cost and get everything. There have been very few details released about it. I expect something to come out in the next month. I have no idea what they're going to charge, and like I said, whether it's going to be an individual pay-per-view event for each race, or if it's going to be streaming where you get the whole Lincoln season and whatever else they have. That I have no idea. Just a thought. Wonder if PA Posse 410 Sprint Car Series will award provisionals, and or would that be a Track's decision? I feel if I ran all shows and I have one I do not make, I deserve a provisional. No, there'll be no provisionals because they have 3 mulligans as well. So if you miss a show, you could use that as a mulligan, or if you run all 47 events or however many they have with rainouts and weather, your lowest 3 will be thrown out. So, or your worst 3 performances. So I hate provisionals all the way around. I watched a bunch of football games this weekend and hockey and nobody got an extra quarter if they didn't perform well. So I'm not a provisional guy. I think they should be thrown out of racing altogether. But no, there will not be provisionals for this series, especially with 3 mulligans, which I don't like that either. So can I get your thoughts on variable pre-sale pricing for events? Example, if you buy 3 months out, $30, 2 weeks out, $40, or something along. You know what? I've always loved when Babs Motor Speedway has done that. They did it for the Sprint Showdown, not this year, the year before, where you could get 50% off, then 25% off. And then I think there might have been another one in between. I'm not sure. It might have been like a 15 or 10% off. Babs Motor Speedway had a lot of success with it. And I think Track's got to do something to get fans in the stands for local events. So I'm not sure where you're from, but Central Pennsylvania, I think, look, Earl Baltus said once, the most expensive seat is the empty one. And I just think they need to do more of these things. Like when I go to a Hershey Bears, I have season tickets to the Hershey Bears for hockey. They sell 12 game blocks where you could, and I think they should do more of these things. Now, obviously not with the Outlaws and High Limit or a national series or even the All-Stars, But I do think for local shows or weekly racing, there's no reason you can't do that. None at all. I know that there's some logistical things with it as far as, seating and whatnot. But look, we put a man on the moon, for Christ's sake. I think we can figure this out. It's time to come into the real sports world. And I mean, most of these tracks don't even have credit card sales, which is, it's unbelievable to me. So yes, I think that's a great idea. And I think more tracks should do stuff like that. I wonder what the reason was why they thought it would be a good idea for the new PA Sprint Series to have that many races. It seems like they're trying to keep their PA people in Pennsylvania. And is there more to that? I think that's part of the reason, but I also think it was a way to boost their point fund. There's a $4,000 sanction fee for each race. So more races, more goes to the point fund. So I think that's something that was part of it. I think, hell, I don't know. I would have went to 20 to 25. I wouldn't have gone that high because to me, there's nowhere to grow. You can't add more races because I think you're going to struggle to have anybody run this full series to begin with. I think maybe Freddie Raymer, Troy Wagaman, somebody like that. I don't expect Macri to. I don't expect Danny Dietrich to. I expect Danny Dietrich to still be in the hunt to win it, but I think he's going to miss probably 5, maybe 6 shows. So I think it's just too many races because you put yourself in a box because where do you go next? And let's say some tracks pull out just because of finances. Now you're retracting. Retraction never looks good. Perception is reality. If you're retracting, it's people sometimes are leery of what you're doing. So I thought it was too many races as well. Did we put a man on the moon? Oh, here we go. Well, I'm going to say we did. So for the purposes of this show, yes. We sure as hell didn't have CGI at that time. So I'm okay with it. I thought all the 410 races at BAPS last year were 50% off. Yeah, they did. They did. You're right. They did do a deal in the off season where you could buy tickets for 50% off. I do not know if they're going to do that again, but it's a great promotion. Jeremy, if you had to choose who to run a national series, would you choose Brian Carter or Brad Sweet? Jesus. Wow. Brian Carter's done it a long time, and whether people like him or not, Brian should be in the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. He saved the World of Outlaws. Absolutely. Brad is kind of that new type of promoter. Man, that's tough. I'll tell you what, Sugar Bear, I'm not going to cop out. Ask me a little later in the show. Let me think about it. But I will answer it tonight. I got to think about it because that's really, you couldn't go wrong with either of them. You know what? Screw it. I'll answer it now. I'm going to take Brad because he's a little more aggressive, and I think things are going that direction in the world. So I'll say Brad for now, but Carter would not be. Carter's just done a great job. So Brad, right at the moment. Wow. That might be the toughest question I've ever had on this show. Would you ever consider doing deep dive on the People's Champ, Billy Dietrich? Yes, I would. I try and not do drivers or current drivers because I talk to him a lot during the season. I kind of want to do the behind the scenes stuff, like crew chiefs, people you don't talk to a lot. But yes, it's going to come a point where I do drivers. So yeah, I'll definitely have people on. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow. Wow, Jeremy loves high limits so much. Bradley. See, I'm damned if I do. I'm damned if I don't. I give an honest answer. It's not, hey, Brad knows that if he screws up or high limit screws up, I'm going to call him out on it. He knows it. I've done it. So I don't agree with everything they did. Like, I don't agree. I didn't agree with the 3-day Weichert Memorial where they scheduled over Williams Grove. And I told Brad asked me about it because I talked about it on a 98.9, and we just agreed to disagree. So now it doesn't matter because the Grove went dark for him. So I'm glad for that. But no, I'm not a homer for anybody. I know you suckered me into that, but I was going to answer it regardless. Any series choices coming out soon? There was supposed to be one earlier this week. I know it's only Tuesday, but it didn't happen yet. I haven't heard anything. There's one that's going to come out probably around PRI. I talked to him today. I'm not going to say who it is. Well, I will. I think you're going to see the Danny Sams one come out soon. I think you're going to see the Cy Lynch come out soon. And I think you're going to see the Vermeer Motorsports come out soon. Will it be PRI? I don't know. Sam's likely high limit. I'd say likely high limit. Is it misguided for this PA Sprint Series to not have their own standard set of rules? I said that in a 98.9. I thought I'm not going to say misguided. I'm going to say it was a missed opportunity. One of the problems I think we see a lot in central Pennsylvania is, we saw bickering. It wasn't last year. It was the year before. I think it was 2024. Jumps and there's just different rules. And then you get into tech and you have that factor, and there's no uniform tech. There's no uniform rules. They're all pretty close on the car specs. That's good. But I'm talking about rules for a race. And I just thought it was a missed opportunity to get everybody on the same page for rules in 47 shows. And get tech as part of that. Have one tech guy go to all the races. It didn't happen. So it just seemed like a missed opportunity to me. What about rainouts? How will that affect the series point fund? They put a provision when they did this point fund. I found out today that they kind of figured 20% rainouts. So it kind of put them at 37, 38 races. Their point fund's based on that. So that's where I think they're accounting for that. Now, they have sponsors. They're going to have a surplus. So I think they'll be able to pay out exactly what they said they would pay out, from what I gather. Jeremy, have you bought your Screaming Bears jersey yet? I have not. I do like the Screaming Bears jersey. I like it a whole hell of a lot better than the Screaming Eagles jersey for the Capitals. The colors are nicer. Yeah. But no, I have not I haven't bought any jersey yet. So I don't, they're a little too salty for me right at this point. Plus I buy them for my daughter. I focus on getting stuff for her, and we'll see what she ends up with over the next month. Tom on line one. Tom, how are you?
Yeah, but between the PA Speed Week and the PA Posse Series, there's a point fund. So what are they going to do when they run the speed week? Are they going to charge them $4,000 for the one and then a couple $1,000 for the other one? How much is it going to cost them to run speed week?
Well, if you're part of the series, you're part. Okay, so say BAPS. I think you're going to have to pay $4,000 for the series. I don't know if they'll waive the sanction fee for Speed Week or not. It's not a lot. That's not a big portion of that. And there's going to be two separate point funds. Like the Speed Week point fund has nothing to do with the PA Posse series point fund. The races are part of the series, but they're not. The point funds are separate. Does that make sense?
Well, I know they're separate, but I just wondered how much they were going to sunk them after they charged them $4,000.
Well, the other thing is, it's from what I gather, it's $2,000 to be on the series schedule and then $2,000 the day of the race. So even if you rain out, you paid that $2,000 from what I understand, unless that has changed. But again, if it is, it's nothing. The series is definitely more. The series is definitely a bigger sanction fee. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't look like any of the tracks have cut down any of their scheduling. From what I've seen, it looks like they're pretty much running every week. So I don't see how this series is going to help them out unless they just get bigger crowds, because they're not cutting out any weeks. They're not going to cut out any weeks and let the other track fill in for them. So I don't know what this is going to do.
Well, that's mostly a Lincoln and Port Royal thing. And Port Royal does have less races. Port Royal, I think, had 25. Last year, or I should say 2025, they had 27 410 races scheduled. So, and I think they got 17, 19 in, something like that. I saw the list. Lincoln's schedule didn't come out yet, but I guarantee you it will be less races than it was a year ago. A year ago, I believe it was 34. I expected in that 25, 26 range.
Well,
Yep.
okay, well, that's all I had. I just was wondering what they were going to do there.
Yep, no problem, Tom. I'll keep you posted. Again, I think this is a little fluid. I think you could see some changes along the way, and we'll see how it all turns out.
All right.
All right. Take care, Tom. Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
All right, Pete on line 2. Pete, what's up? Pete, are you there?
Hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, Pete.
I lost you for a minute. Did y'all think I'd gone missing?
No, I don't know. We'll send a wellness check.
So, just an off-the-wall hypothetical for you. Of the drivers that we know of now in the series choices, the public knowledge drivers, better chance of winning their prospective series next year, Buddy or Aaron Russell?
Whew. God, you guys all meet in a room tonight and come up with the toughest things?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Whew. Man. Give me Aaron Reitzel. And look, now, when I say that, Buddy is going to be the best driver in the sport in a short amount of time. It's not going to be long. And I think he wins.
I agree.
I think he wins the title in 2027. I still think Buddy needs some improvement on the half miles. I think he would admit that. Knoxville getting another race does not necessarily help him. So he has 5 shows at Knoxville before the Nationals. He has he has 6 shows at Volusia, which is, he hasn't had a really good Volusia yet. So those two things concern me. You got 11 shows there, and the Grove he's admitted he needs to be better at. That's another 6 shows. Gravel's good at all those places, and they're really good at all those places.
Just having to race against David Gravel every week is probably what does it for me.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now look, Rico. The interesting thing about Rico, I did a 90 at 9 on him yesterday. And I think he can have a better year than he had last year. I think it might be the year after or the year after. He has a lot going on. He just moved into a new shop. He's going to Australia. He has the Speedway Motors thing. He has the commitments. I think Aaron Reitzel, I think there's going to be a little more. He's run a national tour now again. And I think next year they could be even better prepared. So from that, and if he doesn't get injured, so from that standpoint, Aaron Reitzel was closer to it to begin with. So I kind of think Aaron Reitzel.
I would think so too, which, I like him anyways, but I just think between those two, he probably has a better chance. And what blew my mind, maybe you talked about it yesterday or Rodman did, one of the two, Rico's average finish was like 7.2 or something.
Yeah, that was me. Yeah, he needs to work on his consistency a little bit. And with High Limit, when he didn't win, I think it was 8 point something. And then when he won, if you add on all his wins, it's 6 point whatever. So he needs to improve a little bit on consistency. The only flaw for Gravel is, can he maintain a 4th place average finish? I mean, it's plain and simple. It's just going to be harder to beat Gravel, who is the best time trialer in the sport. No, he's going to be in the dash 50 times. So, again, it's who you're. I mean, David Gravel is the best. They're the best team in the sport right now, driver team, and of course it's going to be harder to beat him, I think. And that's no disrespect
not
to
in
Rico.
and not out.
Yeah, it's no disrespect to Rico. I think Rico can have a better year than. I think he has a year in him that's better than last year, simply because he hasn't won a crown jewel yet. But beating David Gravel's tough. Buddy's going to do it, but I don't think it's next year.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said.
Well,
I think Rico having his 7 and something average finish and still winning the title is pretty crazy. But it just, that's on account of him winning 20 some odd races, which, whatever, 16 of them were with the series, but no less. You get a 20 plus win season, you should probably win a title somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, Rico wins a lot. I mean, he won, I believe he won, he won 19 410 races last year. 4 of them were with the World of Outlaws. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of wins. Good luck beating. But I think Aaron Reitzel can win at a large clip too, as can Buddy and David Gravel. I just think it's a consistency factor. And there's nobody in the sport who's as consistent as David Gravel.
If we're just going off the rails on hypotheticals, if you let's just say next year we do Rico number 1, Reitzel number 2, who's number 3 at High Limit?
As long as everything's okay with Tyler Courtney, I'd say Tyler Courtney.
Yeah, he's had last year sucked.
He started to come out of that though. I mean, and then he got hurt. He was starting to put together.
No, I meant him getting hurt. Yeah.
He was. I don't. He's got to. I don't know where he's at though. Like I don't know where his recovery is at this point. I'm hoping to catch up with him at PRI.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Have a good night. I appreciate it.
All right, Pete. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Will Kevin Nouse be involved with the PA Sprint Series? I have not heard anything as of yet. I think he could end up being at Williams Grove in a role there. But again, that's just what I've heard. I've not heard anything about him being with the PA Sprint Series. No provisionals makes the Outlaws look even weaker when everyone shows up to race. I think you could pretty much say that across the board. If everybody shows up to race, I think you're going to have some high limit guys taking provisionals too. So I just don't think they're that drastically different. I highly recommend the Steve Kinzer book authored by Dave Argabright. An excellent read. Dave and Steve did a great job. I learned some things with the stories of the past. Get your copy. I have it right up there. It's on my list to do in the off season here is to read that book. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and do it yet. I'm kind of reading some other stuff. But yes, it's on. I've heard it's a great book, and Dave Argabright does a good job. Anybody who's interested in Dave, I did a deep dive with him. It's just really good stuff. And I like his writing style a lot. What are track promoters missing that teams and drivers need from them? And what are teams missing that promoters need from them? I would assume you mean in Central PA. I just think, man, I could go on for hours. Real quick, I think track promoters need to take, I think they need to think about costs for the racer a little more. I think they need to almost sometimes protect the racer from themselves. I think promoters need to get feedback. I'm not saying let the inmates run the asylum, but get feedback. Make the drivers feel like they're part of this. Sometimes I think promoters make decisions and don't care what the drivers think. So regardless if you are or aren't, you got to make it look like you're taking their needs into consideration or their feelings on stuff into consideration. Vice versa. Look, I think promoters need drivers to just stop complaining so much. Get on the same page. It's got to be difficult for a promoter to figure out what to do when you have 24 different opinions in the pit area. So I think they need to kind of come together and get things worked out. I know, and I hate to keep saying this. Colton Gauss at BAPS last year met with a bunch of drivers and team owners throughout the off season just to get their feedback on things. I think that goes a long way. I think whether it's what a driver needs from a promoter and vice versa. So I just think sometimes open ears and listen helps out a lot in both sides of that. Can track handle a series sanction fee plus speed week fee and increased speed week purse? Can a track handle series sanction? Oh, they're going to do it. We're going to find out. Keep in mind the big tracks, or I should say the main tracks, Williams Grove, Lincoln, and Port Royal, their point funds are going to be scaled down tremendously, and they're going to use some of that money to pay the sanction fee. So essentially it's feeding into the series point fund. So let's not get a misconception there. I mean, I don't think, if you have 10 races and you get all 10 in, it's not 40,000 out of your pocket. It's whatever your point fund and then something out of your pocket. So I think that number maybe is skewed a little bit because you have some money to play with. The key is you got to get, as a track, is get your sponsors back. The the point fund sponsors and have them buy into the series. That's probably going to be the most difficult part. So we'll see how many of those sponsors stay on board. Jeremy, can PA Posse Series full-timer use their mulligans on Knoxville Nationals or Kings Royal and still be eligible for the series championships? You're eligible no matter how many races you run. They do not have a minimum requirement. There's no races scheduled Kings Royal week. They have Selinsgrove and Clinton County the week of the Knoxville Nationals, and I would expect, those guys to use them accordingly if they have any left. I don't think your top three teams, which is Dietrich, Macri, and Dietz, I think they're going to surpass their mulligans. I think they all want to travel. Dietrich goes to Ohio Speed Week and he goes to the Nationals, and I think the way he has it figured out, I think he'll miss 5 or 6. Anthony Macri is going to go to Knoxville anytime, any chance he can get. So I expect him to be out there as much as possible. And then as for Chase Dietz, I do know Chase Dietz wants to get a little more time on the road. I don't expect them to be like Macri yet, but they went to Peevely last year and they got kicked around, but they think it made him better when they came back to PA. So I don't expect those three teams to be just, I don't expect any of them to run 44 races. The key's going to be rainouts and weather. How many do they take away? And then, where does that play into everything? But you do not need a minimum number of races. If you only run 25 races and you're at the top of the points at the end of the year, you win it. So that was something they changed late in the game. Hi, Jeremy. You may have seen one of the last races for a while at New Egypt. Yeah, I think, and considering what they want to run the place, meaning if you lease it, I don't see anybody walking down that road. It's way overpriced. So I don't see New Egypt. I mean, unless somebody buys it, but the price tag is huge on it. So I think I got there this year for the World of Outlaws event, and I think it's good I did. Jeremy, please reference Anthony Macri as the Concrete King. I don't do nicknames. I don't care about nicknames. I don't write nicknames. That's just an old school journalism thing. We weren't allowed to put nicknames in the paper, so I just don't do it at all. That's 20 years of training that just hasn't left me yet. Sorry. Can't accommodate that one. What will it take to get people to stop saying high limits? It's crazy some of the people so close to the series can't even say it correctly. I often wonder that. I hear it probably, I probably hear high limits more than I hear high limit. So yeah, I agree with you. That's actually funny. I think of that all the time. It's high limit racing. It's high limit. I don't think I've never said high limits in my life. Except maybe at a poker table. Jeremy, what's your thoughts on Lenny Salmons and AARM being banned from Wall Stadium and the Turkey Derby? I did not see what that's for. If you could give me some info. Here's my thought on this. And I've been banned from speedways. I was kicked out. Well, my credential was pulled at Selinsgrove earlier this year because I guess they didn't like what I said about them running against the Grove, which is fine. I hold no ill will toward them for it. That's their choice. I don't have to go back. And I just left that night. I didn't go in, but, this is my rule of thumb on that. Media should not be kicked out if it was for just saying bad things. If you were fair, I'm not saying just fair doesn't mean I didn't like it. Okay. Fair means you were balanced. You had an opinion that is allowed, and it's been going on since the 50s and 60s. You shouldn't be kicked out. It's if you violate policy. You get in an argument with a track employee. You're starting trouble by, I don't know, getting drunk on the grounds and acting inappropriately. That's the stuff, yes, kick them out. But for staying within the rules of journalism, you shouldn't be kicked out just because the promoter doesn't like it. This is definitely the most fragile sport I've ever covered. There's no doubt about that. I've never been kicked out of an NFL stadium because I said that. I covered some pretty bad teams in the NFL, and I said what I wanted, and nobody called me and said, "Oh, that was mean." Think about LeBron James. He gets criticized. It's a daily thing on these talk shows. They don't get banned. So yeah, I'm not in favor of that unless they broke a rule, a code of conduct type of rule. So yeah, I'm not in favor of that. You know what? You're going to get criticized sometimes. That's it. I get criticized. I don't ban anybody from my Facebook page or Twitter feed. I've been saying for a week that only 2 or 3 drivers will run the entire Posse series. Am I wrong saying that? I could see maximum 4. I think Troy Wagaman in the Hefner car. I think Freddie Raymer. I think Lucas Wolf, but by accident. Maybe Lucas Wolf. There could be some other things going on there. I know Steve Clayball, the new team that LFG Racing, they talked about running the entire thing. So I could see maybe 3, 4 max, but not the big teams. Not the big teams. I think they're going to miss more than the 3 allowed. But again, weather comes into that. Weather definitely comes into that and could help the series and have more people run it. If you get 10 rainouts and they're positioned in the right spot and you have the mulligans, you can miss 13 races. So they're going to have to get lucky with rainouts and weather to have a large group of people run this series. Jim from Buffalo, High Limit's biggest fan on line 5. Jim.
Well, good evening, Mr. High Limits with an S. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. Hey, before we get into the sprint car stuff, I just want to say, how about them Steelers? All them faithful Central Pennsylvania fans.
You know,
we bludgeoned them the other day.
It's funny. I had a discussion with somebody this week about it. There's more Steeler fans, even though it's 3.5 hours to Pittsburgh from Central PA, and it's only an hour and a half to Philly. There's more Steelers fans in Central PA than Eagles fans. And I'm not one of them, obviously. I'm a Dallas Cowboys guy. So I didn't lose any sleep over Buffalo beating them.
No, I thought it was pretty neat. Just a couple things this week, and probably the same old thing that you've heard a lot. When does the World of Outlaw schedule come out? Is that going to be held up until PRI?
I think so. I mean, at this point, you might as well wait till PRI to do it. So, yeah, I would say that's probably when it's going to happen.
And I'm going to put you on the spot here. Does anybody bitch and complain more about things than sprint car fans? It's incredible. I mean, God love them. It's amazing.
No, I mean, look, all sports fans. I mean, look, if you're a Steelers fan right now, that fan base has been complaining about Tomlin for a while now. So no, I don't think it's that. Now, here's the difference, though. I mean, there's obviously less sprint car fans than there are Pittsburgh Steelers fans. So, yeah, I mean, look, I don't think it's any more. I just think some of it is more misguided.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
I got you.
That
I got
makes
you.
sense.
So, but and another point about the guy from Auto Racing News getting banned. I mean, sometimes when you criticize a track or you say maybe this was could be better or this was wrong or whatever, sometimes people get interested just by curiosity, and rather than just say, hey, you're gone, because you got a pretty loyal following here. They'll say, okay, well, then Jeremy got kicked out, why would I go there? It's a fine line, and they got to watch themselves with that stuff.
I just think there's that old adage, there's no such thing as bad press. Now, I don't necessarily believe that, but again, if they're reporting something, it's their opinion. I don't know. I mean, take something away from it. Don't ban them. Because here's the thing. I got banned once from a speedway locally. And I told them, or I told my editor, and my editor at the time told him, and it was when I was at Area Auto Racing News. My editor told them, if you ban him, he's going to pay to get in every week, and he's going to write everything he thinks. And I was let in the next week.
It's amazing how that happens.
Yes.
But, and also, too, it depends on how people react. I remember an ECHL team, the Cincinnati Cyclones, were voted to have the worst logo in all of hockey. So immediately they came out with a jersey push and said, be the first to wear the worst. And they sold a ton of jerseys. I mean, you can spin it anyway. That's just great.
And
so
if you want to take it a step further, you sell the jerseys, and then you have a contest for somebody to design a new logo and sell more jerseys.
Exactly. So anyways, but all right then, have a great week. Enjoy the show like always, and go Bills.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Jim. Yeah, I mean, you got to use the press any way you can. This banning people is just so, it's like kicking somebody out of your clubhouse. It's weird. It's strange to me. What else do we got, Eric? Oh, we got Daniel in line 6. Daniel, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Jeremy. How are you doing?
Not bad. Can't complain.
Good. So I just had a couple of questions for you. So I've seen the schedule get released for that new PA series, and my mark of a good regional series is kind of the IRA, and then on the late model side, the Hunt the Front series. And it just seems like a very ambitious schedule for a newer series to run.
Yeah, I thought it should have been 20 to 25 races, kind of ease into it. Your point fund wouldn't have been as big, but it gave you room to grow. I don't think at this point, at least from an event standpoint, you have room to grow. Obviously, you can always make a point fund bigger. Always. But I just wish they would have thought a little more about their schedule. 2 Sundays at Bedford. Man, I got a text from an owner today, and he was mad. I've been getting texts.
Yeah.
I've been getting texts from owners and calls, and they all say the same thing. It's too many races.
Yeah, it just worries me because it seems like Pennsylvania before the series had a pretty good gig going on with their just point series with the tracks individually, and it didn't seem to be a big problem on most nights to draw in like 30 plus sprint cars and a pretty good crowd. So I feel like it might be kind of a progression that just isn't really needed. It might actually backfire.
Yeah, I mean the averages were right around. Port Royal and Baps had the highest averages, and then it was Lincoln and Williams Grove. So they were right around the 30 mark, those two. And now, don't get me wrong, fan count is a problem. And I do think they put this series together to hopefully inject some interest to get fans in the stands. Yeah. I just don't know if people are going to pay to see the same guys. You're not bringing anything new, essentially from the actual show standpoint. And I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if people
it's
are going to follow
concerning too.
series.
Just sorry.
No. I just don't know if people are going to be like, ooh, let me check the points for the series. I don't know if we're at that point in this area.
Yeah, and maybe after a couple of years that'll be the case, but especially with some tracks still running the non-sanctioned shows, it just really concerns me what they're going to get for a car count and a crowd on a non-sanctioned show now that everything is basically to that level or above in that area. And there's so many national shows too. Yeah. It's like, people just can't shell out $2,000 to go to 30 races a year.
I think you bring up a good point about the regular non-series races. What do those look like now? Do people not go to those, or do people not go to the series races because they can see the same guys during the weekly show that might be $5 cheaper? I think we're going to have to see that play out, but it's definitely a concern of mine. Does one of them fall off?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, with how many car owners are in that area that seem to run in like right to that 20 to 50 race range, like, are they going to want to run anything but that series if they do commit to it?
Well, from the people I've talked to, they're going to continue to run sanction races because you get $1,000 to start or $1,200 with high limit. And that's like finishing in the top 5 of a regular show. So
yeah, I totally agree.
They're going to go to the sanctioned races. Meaning
and then I got one other topic for you. So it's kind of getting the younger crowd into sprint car racing. I wish a couple more tracks would do like a free high school or college student night. I live in Wisconsin, and I have a track about 3 hours away called Red Cedar, and they do a free college student night. And me and my buddy will trek up like 4 hours every year just to support them because it's so awesome. And they get a packed crowd just for some like weekly shows too.
No, I'm open to all of that stuff. I think sprint car tracks or your weekly tracks need to take the like kind of that cross between minor league baseball or minor league sports for that matter and the professional, somewhere in between there. I think giveaways are great. I think doing things make the fan feel like they're getting more, and you just can't open the doors now and have people come in. Those days are over. And
yeah, I totally agree.
So yeah, I like that idea. I think that's a good idea. Do something for the college students or the high school kids.
Yeah. And I see a lot of the older crowd talk about how like certain races don't have senior discounts, and it's a very fair point. I totally understand it. But on the opposite side, like as a young person paying for my own schooling and working, I mean, there's not much left over. So it would be nice to get a couple opportunities a year to check it out for a reduced cost at least.
No, I think, and then who knows, maybe you become a fan then for life, where you're bringing people, a girlfriend, whatever, and wife, and then wife and people at work. Yeah, it just makes sense. And I don't know why tracks don't do more of that. Sometimes you got to give to get. And
yes,
I think that's something that's lost on some promoters.
I totally do too. I think a lot of tracks look at the online side so much now that they forget that. I think the word of mouth is probably the strongest suit for dirt racing right now, and has been for a long time.
Well, yeah, because terrestrial radio is not the answer anymore. No, people listen to Sirius or people listen to apps. So celestial radio is not the answer. The newspaper, now it's become, an online product. I think just from an advertising standpoint, word of mouth still works, and you just got to get more people through the gate. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think of kind of like every dirt racing fan that goes to 10 plus races a year will typically tote around another fan to pretty much each race they go to that normally wouldn't grow. And that's I feel like how the audience really grows at these tracks.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
Yeah. Well, very good talking to you, Jeremy. I listened to one of your shows in the car the other day. I think it was like 2 weeks ago. And man, the people on that one were asking you some crazy questions.
It's all right. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, it was quite entertaining. Good to hear from the crowd.
All right, Daniel, I appreciate it. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, have a great night, Jeremy. Take it easy.
Yep, you do the same.
Bye.
Bye. 18 and under free at all weekly series. They can't drink, so why gouge them? Let them buy candy and soda and merch candy. Sugar Bear. No, I agree though. I think you're right. I think you're right on that. Do something for them. Just, I'm not saying you have to make it corny, but fans want to think they want to believe they're getting a bargain, especially nowadays. So I just don't know why tracks don't do more of it. I just don't. John on line 7. John, how are you?
Good, Jeremy. Hey, talking about this PA Posse series here again. Probably get plenty of calls on it
That's
now.
okay.
But, I'm an old guy, and I can remember back when Jack Dunn used to have a TV program on.
Yep.
And I'm sure you probably don't even remember that. But he talked about, his tracks, of course. He had, at the time, Williams Grove and Hagerstown. And they have clips on, like whoever won those features that weekend, those 3 different features. You have a little clip of the cars, going around the track, and then the guy pulling in the winner's circle. And that was really neat to have that back then. I think it was just through one of the local TV channels. But, I was just sitting here thinking, man, it'd be great if you'd have a show like that. I mean, you would be the guy to have that program. And you could have part of that program, a call-in section, or one evening out of the week, a call-in. And that'd be cool. And if you could just get the clips, and I'm sure there's video clips of everything, every track that runs every week. Somebody's got video on it. But, if you could gather up the video, which wouldn't be that hard nowadays, you can email them to you. But I think that would be really, really good to have that, especially now that they got this series. And this series, it's way too big. They could cut that thing in half.
Well, John,
take half the races away, and it would still be big.
Well, John, I am going to, per your first part, it might be talked about or already be talked about. It's something that if anybody remembers this week on Dirt is
yeah, I do kind of remember
it was
that.
Fabulous. It was great. It was one of the best, and it was a long running show, so we're talking about stuff like that. I know Eric, my producer, does a great job. We're going to talk in the off season here, once I get back from PRI, and something that it's something that we're discussing. And yes, I do think the series is a little too long. Look, and I do want to say there are some positives. I know there are a lot of negatives being brought up. I do want to say that it's great that the tracks got together in a room and talked.
Yeah.
And they're laying down for some races. So there's good to it as well. I just have a lot of concerns, and probably at the top of the list is the number of races.
Yeah, me too. And I want to see it work. I mean, I really am in favor of it myself. And I'm so much in favor of it that it bugs me that I'm afraid that they just got a couple of things that's not too good.
Well,
and I wish somebody like you could have been at that meeting, because they were all track owners or track operators. Sure, they're going to pile races on. You want another race? Yeah, I'll take 2 more races. You just can't. There was no one to, how should I say it, go to bat for the other side, the drivers and the fans. And I don't know if anyone probably brought up the fact that they're going to sit and let the Knoxville Nationals go and not go there just because you want to race at Williams Grove.
That's not happening.
What was the other one? Whatever it was, I forget. But yeah, I can't believe they wouldn't have someone from the media like yourself. It wouldn't have to necessarily be you, but somebody that's knowledgeable about the area and the racing. Because when they had the Pabst points deal, they got to fighting about that after about 1 year.
Yeah.
They barely got through they barely got through the first year. You know, they started arguing, well, you guys raced more races than we did.
Yep.
You know, it was just, and it wouldn't work. And then they said the guy that won the most money should be the, you know, they didn't keep points, they kept money, dollars, is what determined it. You know?
Sure. No. Yeah.
Wolfgang won.
Yep. Nope.
Well, anyway, Wolfgang had one series. He won all the big races, and I think he darn near won the thing. Maybe he did win it.
I think he won it the 1 year. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they had the National Open, the Susquehanna 50, and they had the gymnasium, or not the gymnasium Memorial. He was still alive then.
Yeah.
But the big races out at Selinsgrove, they had a $50,000 one out there.
Yeah, it was
he walked
89.
away with the thing, and he only raced, what, a quarter or maybe a third of the races.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, they just maybe they get through the first year, everything goes well, and maybe they make some changes for next year. We'll have to see how this all turns out. And again, I'm cautiously optimistic, but concerned at the same time. So we'll see how it all turns out. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
we'll see.
Well, I just think there's some unforeseen problems there that they missed. That's all. And again, I hope you do get that TV gig, because that'd be awesome.
The key.
I mean, that would just be the thing, and that would promote this whole area around here for sprint car racing more than I think anything else that you could do.
Well,
if that was on every week at 6 o'clock, or on 2 nights a week, or whatever, right after the local news and weather, that'd be great.
You just have to pull it off with getting the footage, and as is the case with anything, that's always the hardest part. So we're going to try. It's something Eric and I need to sit down about and see what what works. But this week on dirt, fabulous. It was fantastic.
Yeah, right.
It was fantastic. So, all right, John, I have to get back. I have to get back to the chat. So,
yeah, I'll let you go.
All right, thanks, John, for calling. I appreciate it.
You bet. Yep. Bye now.
Bye-bye. All right, Jeremy, if you could if you could compare regional sprint series to college football, excluding the Outlaws and high limits, I would say PA Posse is the SEC and Knoxville is Big Ten and NARC is Pac-12. Right now, NARC's the Big Sky Conference. But I think, talking to Brad, I think he's going to change some things. So far, I like what I hear. I'm not going to release anything. But I think it's going to be better just from initial things I've heard. Yeah, I mean, if you're comparing it, I think that's probably true. I think that's probably true. I think those are fair comparisons. Do you think we will get Donnie Schatz's news by PRI? I think it could be toward the end of PRI or after. I'm actually going to make some calls this week and hopefully, because I always make calls right before PRI so I can kind of lay out my week and out there. So, man, I don't know. I think we could hear something toward the end of PRI or maybe the week after, before Christmas. How can Red Robin afford to sponsor sprint car racing? The Red Robin by me isn't that busy. If you come here, they're busy. They're busy. There's one on the Carlisle Pike, which is down the road from the Grove, and there's one in Hershey, and there's one on 22 in Harrisburg, and they all do really good business. You're in Wisconsin. Everybody eats cheese. Are we becoming backgate tracks? I think there's a lot of tracks that are, why else would you have 3 and 4 divisions on your show? I mean, that's backgate. It's all backgate. And yeah, I think some tracks I know in Central PA have resisted it. You don't usually see 4 division shows. for a sprint car race. I mean, the Grove still, it's 2 divisions. Lincoln, most of the time, 2 divisions. Port Royal's 3 divisions. And they have late models. I mean, super late's a lot of places are the first division. So Central PA isn't really bad with that. When BAPS has 410 show, there's only 1 division. I don't count a enduro at the end of the night because you don't have qualifying and all that other stuff. It's an enduro at the end of the night. So PA's pretty good with it as far as sprint car tracks. Terrible news about New Egypt. This can't be good for racing. No, I mean, in New Jersey, I think that just leaves them with Bridgeport Motorsports Park as the only track. I don't think it's going to stop there. I hate to be the bearer of bad tidings, but man, I just don't think you're going to see. I think you're going to see more tracks struggling. It's the direction it's going. So hopefully not. Would you ever promote a race? Yes, I would promote a race. In fact, I talked about it last year. I have talked about it. And it's a risk. I talked about taking out a loan to do it. Friend of mine and partner, Mike Mallett, who's my partner in SprintCarUnlimited.tv. He promotes a race in New York, and him and I have talked about it. And of course, I have friends who are promoters, so I know what goes into it. You know, I always chuckle when people say, "Oh, you don't know what it's like." No, I do know what it's like because I have friends who are promoters, and I've been around since 1984 in the sprint car ranks, and even farther back in other forms. So the risk at this point for me would be a little bit, just a little too much. If I can pull some things together and YouTube continues to get better, I would strongly consider it. I can tell you this, I'd pull the plug if the weather if it dripped, it's done. Jeremy Elliott would promote a race and have Brad Sweet in charge. Yeah. No, I wouldn't do that. No, it'd be all mine. I'd share it with somebody. What is something from Sprint Car Past that you wish you could bring to modern times? How far back is past? I don't know what you mean by past. If you're going back to 2010, 2009, whatever, dish wings. Dish wings would be my first thing. As far as if you're going back to the 80s, 90s, you can't bring back handicap shows because the parity's too great and guys wouldn't pass. I'd bring back rules packages. Like I would, I mean, and I know, oh, well, you can't. No, you really can't. So just, there's some venues, you know, I used to like when, and obviously you can't, Syracuse isn't around anymore. I like Syracuse for the 410s. And then they went to Rolling Wheels, you know, on the night before, and it was good. I like that. Just some of the names too, some of the characters. Those are the things I miss the most. I mean, I feel that I have seen the best racing that I'm going to see. I really believe that. I feel I've seen I don't think I'll see better racing than I did in the 80s and 90s. And that's not me being get off my lawn or yelling at clouds. I think the racing's okay now. But, and I'm not beating the drum that it's terrible either. I don't buy that. But I mean, back then it was just different. And I think he had some more characters back then. I think a little more personality. Somebody said Manzanita. Yeah, I'd be good with that. You know, I remember the Slick 50 series. I remember, Winter Heat and stuff like that. Those things were great. So, I mean, I could probably reminisce, all day long. How about no going on the wing? No, not everybody climb up on the wing, because I see it every race now. It's really not special. So that's, I mean, I could go on and on, but there are a lot of good things now too. Is there more or less non-platinum drivers winning Woo races next year compared to 2025? I did that 90 at 9 today. Check it out if you missed it. I gave some statistics on how many non-platinum members have won World of Outlaws events in the last 5 years. I think it's 87. And I think we're going to keep going on this trend where it's between 20 and 25% in that range are going to be non-platinum members winning World of Outlaws events. Kyle Larson and Rico Abreu have won I think I figured it out to be like 39% of those 87. They're going to continue to win. Anthony Macri really's good. I think Chase Dietz is getting better. So yeah, I think you're going to see non-platinum members win. And I think it's going to be right around that 25% range. I think that'll continue. And you'll have 1 year that goes to maybe 30% and another year that goes like 21%. But I think you'll see about 25% from here on out. Is there a chance that a safety team travels with the PA series? Oh, no. No. They're good. Track safety at the main tracks is decent. I can't speak to all the other ones because, I do know there's been a concern about some of the fringe tracks. But no, you're not going to have a traveling safety series. Come on. I don't think we're even going to have a traveling flagman. I mean, and that's one person. So no. Will Chase run PA Posse series? Talking to Chase Dietz, he still wants to get out a little more. He also goes like 4 Crown Nationals. He goes and drives that Silver Crown car. So there's a couple races. And then, of course, Knoxville Nationals he wants to go out to. And I think he's going to be at Kings Royal Week, which there's no races there, but you have 4 just in what I told you. And I think he's probably going to run maybe a couple. Let's Race 2 in May to get some seat time at Eldora. I think that's going to be a race or two. So I don't think he'll run the entire thing. No. Jeremy Elliott, who will be the official voice of the PA Sprint Car Series? It's not. It's going to be whoever the track announcer is. As far as I know, I've not heard anything otherwise. How many Port Royal 410 racers will go to Lincoln for PA Posse events? 3, 4, maybe. That's stretching it. I could see someone like Cody Lehman, if Dylan Cisney runs the 27, which I guess is up in the air, or and then piggybacks it with his own car. I mean, I don't see Logan Wagner or Mike Wagner doing it. I don't. Blaine Heimbach's not going to do it. I said 2 maybe. I don't think it's going to be a windfall. Is this PA Sprint Series needed? Could the tracks have worked together without having the series? Yeah, they could have done that. But I think they wanted to inject something into the area that they feel will get more fans or get fans jazzed up or or just do something different to inject some enthusiasm into the region. I don't think it was all money based. I think they saw what was going on in the grandstand, and this was a way they could cut back, or they could justify cutting back on some shows. I think this masks some of that. So, I'm okay with it being a series. I like the concept. There's just some things in the execution that I'm concerned about. That's all. And was it needed? I don't know about needed, but I don't think it was a bad thing. I think it was a good thing to come up with that idea. What do you think about the two race rule with not qualifying the next night? Okay. If you do good in high limit, I kind of sets up the next night in a way that I think is a little too much. I saw Tyler Courtney said something about this. Some other guys. It doesn't bother me a bit because I'm used to it. I saw it with the World of Outlaws. The World of Outlaws used to do this. If you finished in the top 4, the next night, you got, and it wasn't even, I think that night it was like in the dash. Whereas for high limit, you're put on the front row of a heat race. Or you're the heat race guy. So I don't have a problem with it. You earned it. At least you earned it. So I'm good with it because you earned that right. This whole idea of you get to pick where you slot in for time trials. I don't know. They don't do anything at that point. Some people think that's an advantage. Other people don't. So I think it's probably in the eye of the beholder, but the getting a pass, past qualifying doesn't bother me one bit because I grew up on that. So it doesn't bother me. Heard T-Mez will be competing in the PA regular basis 2026. I haven't heard anything like that. Sammy Swindell book is great too. Yeah, you can never go wrong with Sammy. I always thought he was a great interview. I know some people think he's, I guess they've had problems interviewing him. I have not. I enjoy talking to Sammy. A wealth of knowledge. One of the most innovative guys ever in the sport. And just, his stats speak for themselves. So I like Sammy a lot. Jeremy, what are your top 3 least favorite dirt racing divisions? Not a non-wing guy. I don't hate him though. I've actually covered him, and those non-wing guys, they give pretty good interviews. So I don't have any. I'm trying to think of one I hate. Again, we don't see a ton of them. I don't like when here's what, it's not so much a division. I don't like when you have a big race, like a major, what I consider a major, and you have support divisions. Showcase your major, okay? Like, whether it's, I don't know, Weldon Stern or races like that. But I don't really hate divisions. I'm trying to think of one. Wingless Super Sportsman, because I think it takes away from the Wing Super Sportsman class. But they do okay. And the other thing is they don't bring 40 cars. So I'm okay with them. It's 3 heats and done. So I don't even really have a problem with them. I that's one I can't answer because I don't really have any that I hate a ton. Do 410s ever eclipse late models in popularity? Probably not, because you have way more late models. Way more late models. And I think you have the South, the North, you have different types of late models. I don't think so. I don't think so. Is there a possibility that if the PA Posse series does well, it might benefit, say, Ohio Speed Week or IRA series to make more regional series stronger, or does it dilute things too much? I don't think I think Ohio's going to be keeping an eye on it. IRA already is the regional series there. They have it already. I don't know what they would do differently. Maybe Sugar Bear can answer that. But I mean, I think Ohio's going to keep an eye on it. Here's the thing. There's basically 4 regions to me. There's Central PA, there's Ohio. Even though they're close, they're 2 separate. Then you get that Midwest, which is Knoxville, Husetson, and Wisconsin. And the NOSA area. They're kind of all together there. And then you get California. So, I mean, you have IRA in the Midwest, so I don't think that's going to change. Ohio, I'm sure will keep an eye on the Central Pennsylvania deal, but Ohio has its own set of problems. You already have FAST, you have the All-Stars, and then you have Ohio Valley Sprint Car Association. It's just way too much going on out there as far as series. You have Great Lakes, which is 360s. You have like the NRA Sprinter Vaders, that's 360. I mean, it's a lot going on in Ohio. How can you not like non-wings? I'm from Indiana, so it's a big part of what I see. It's not that I don't like them. It just, and they put on some great races. When they come here, I catch a couple of them. I don't catch all of them, but I don't mind them. I never said I hate non-wing. I'm not a big fan of 360 non-wing. Okay, now we're getting too low on the totem pole for me. Hate is a strong word, but 360 non-wing, okay, that just screams to me we made another division that takes away from other divisions. So I'm not a fan of that. I have no problem with USAC. I've covered it. I've been to Let's Race 2 and talked to those guys. I'll tell you what, very appreciative of coverage. I don't know if they don't get a lot of coverage in Indiana. You can speak to that more than I can, but they really appreciate coverage. And they're ballsy. I'll give them that. They're ballsy. I'm not getting in one of those things. So I do not have a problem with USAC sprint cars. I know some people think I do. I don't. I just don't see it a lot. And I don't know if it works in Central PA. This is a very 410 wing snobbish area. I don't even think late models works as a weekly program in this area. I think Port Royal cut them back a little this year. So it's just this is what it is in this particular area. But you know what? When USAC comes in here for Eastern Storm, it's a nice diversion. We'd love to see more throwback skins on cars. Again, that's expensive. I don't think they're just going to do it a lot. And that's part of the problem. It just costs, in this growing tire costs and engine costs, I think the last thing they're worried about is wraps. So there will be no point fund at Port Royal. I think they might pay 1 or 2 spots. Not a whole point fund, no. Moved from Western PA, you got any news about or out of Lernerville? I do not, other than they lost their one high limit show. Other than that, no. I know they got a mess out there with the Tri-City deal. It's splitting cars, and they just don't have enough cars to go around out there. It's just not good. That's the biggest thing that's going on in Western PA. Jeremy, when Woo starts next year, how many races till we know the Woo title contenders? Will the Woo rookies make a shuffle early in the run for the Woo Rookie of the Year? I don't know who all the rookies are going to be yet. I think what you're going to see this year, I think you're going to see like 4 or 5 guys run Volusia, and then they have that month off till the next Volusia date, and I think that's when you're going to see people declare or not. I think you're going to see guys say, oh, yeah, I'm going to run Outlaws this year. And then I think you're going to have that delay between the 2 Volusias and also maybe right after Volusia. And that's where the weeding out process could be. I know of one in particular who's going to do that. Your title contenders, it's David Gravel and Buddy Kofoid. Those are the 2. I mean, if Carson Macedo stays with the Outlaws, which I think he will, he'll be in the mix. But those 2 guys, Gravel and Kofoid, those are the guys to beat. And I think it's going to be between them. And I just give Gravel a slight edge on the big tracks because he doesn't drop off on the little ones either. So I don't know. I just think Gravel's the guy. As far as Rookie of the Year, I don't think we know who's going to run it yet. Will there still be a Hoseheads point deal in PA? From what I gather, they don't know yet, but it's not going to be like it was. If they do anything, they'll keep points and pay the winner, and that's it. Because they have moved a lot of money over to the PA Posse Sprint Series. They didn't feel it made much sense to have both. Colton Gauss at Babs Motor Speedway, who, by the way, just won EMPA Promoter of the Year. He should have. Well-deserved. Can we give away free general admission tickets to a 410 sprint car race at Babs on the live show somehow? I'm all for it. And I think the people who join any of my shows would appreciate that. So yes, I ask the fans. We'll see what they say. But Colton does a lot of giveaway stuff, does a lot of different things to get fans into his track, and it's worked. His sprint car races have been pretty good. So yeah, I think that could work out. We'll talk about it. Will Danny Dietrich run Ohio Speed Week? From what I gather, yes. I've talked to him, and he said yes. He will be running Ohio Speed Week. Jeremy, love when you talk about selling jerseys and strategies to sell more merch. Well, I don't know if that's sarcasm, but, hey, I am not in favor. I'll tell you what I'm not in favor of. And Laudo like this if he's on. These teams have these great jerseys in sports. I don't care what sport it is. They're these great jerseys. And then they have to come out and make these black ones with a different logo. And they're terrible. They're terrible. And I know they're doing it just to sell more because people will buy them. But God, I hate them. I watched the Chiefs Cowboys. I'm a Cowboys fan. The Chiefs had those great uniforms, and the Dallas ones were junk. They were horrible. Just horrible. That's why it's another reason I like hockey. Hockey, they have great jerseys. Wow, look at that, a promoter promoting. Bravo. Yeah, like I said, Colton does a good job. He is a friend of mine, but I've criticized. Quick story. One of the first times Colton was at Babs, in fact, it was his first 410 race. And I was friends with Colton because he was on the road, and I've done a couple interviews with him. And they started an hour late on a bright and sunny day on a Sunday night. And I went to him and Scott Gobrecht, who's the owner, and I said, you guys know I'm going to crush you on Tuesday when we had the podcast. And I crushed them for 10 minutes because, again, they didn't have the track ready. It was a bright, sunny day. There's no excuse for it. It was a Sunday, and they were an hour late starting. And what I'm saying, that goes to two things. A, just because you're my friend doesn't mean I like you all the time. I don't always, doesn't mean I agree with you all the time. And secondly, I don't play favorites. Colton really does do an excellent job with Baps Motor Speedway. So it's not me just stroking his ego. Jeremy Lions fan here. How do you think the game on Thursday will play out? Boy, Dallas looks good. Every time, though, Dallas gets in, they let you down. I can't imagine that the Lions are just going to falter again. They looked horrible 2 weeks ago when they I think it was the Giants. Was it the Giants? I think so. They were horrible. And then they were horrible this week against Green Bay. I can't imagine it's going to be 3 horrible games. I think Montgomery's banged up. Amon-Ra St. Brown's banged up. That's not good. So I think it's going to be close. I think the Lions pull it out. Barely. Jahmyr Gibbs is I think, probably the best player on the field if used correctly. So, but boy, Dak Prescott looks good. He's playing at an MVP level. Really is. So, but they always let you down in this spot. So we'll see. I'm anxious to watch it. Does Hunter Schoenberg, sorry for the misspell, have a ride for 2026? As of now, I have not heard of one. But again, that's a call I have to make. The board behind you is a shirt waiting to happen. The board behind you? This board? Oh, I don't know. Shirt waiting to happen. Well, Mike Hefner said via Facebook post he is tired of owners bitching about the cost of racing and said if you can't afford it, don't race. I like Mike a lot. And I think Mike, a great guy. I did not like that post. And here's why I didn't like that post. I didn't like that post because these teams are your customers. And he's part owner at Lincoln Speedway. And I just thought, you're telling guys not to race and you're your customers. If they don't race, then you're going to be complaining about car count. So I just thought that was a miss on his end. I assume he was mad about the Chad Trout Facebook post or somebody else's that kind of talked about costs. But I thought that was one he should have kept to himself because you're an owner of a track and you depend on guys to spend money and field cars for your track. It just did not. I just think it landed badly. I mean, and I like Mike Hefner a lot. He's done a lot of good things in the area. Done a lot for racing. I just thought that one probably should have hit the delete button instead of posted it. What is the best way for getting people into sprint car racing, creating new fans? Wow, I think that's a $1 million question because everybody wants to know. I think you got to get in schools. I think you got to get community based. I think you need to get out in the community and people got to know you're there. I mean, there's people in central Pennsylvania. There's how many tracks within an hour and a half, and there's people who don't know about any of them. So I think you need to be active in the community. I think you need to get out and in the schools and do giveaways and do things just to get them in your track. You're not going to keep them all. There's going to be a percentage that they just don't like it. There's going to be another percentage who won't come back unless there's a giveaway or if it's free. And then there's another percentage that might fall in love with it. And I think that's probably the lower percentage, but you got to try that stuff. Because if somebody doesn't know you're there, it doesn't matter what you do. So you just got to make people aware of, what's going on at your racetrack. That's the biggest thing. Just get people involved, community. David on line 8. David, what do you got?
Hey, Jeremy, good evening. Hey, the first thing that I had was I just wanted to mention what the PA Sprint series, it's the Posse series, sounds good. But I had one thing that, or a comment, I guess, would be that, that brought in some of the fringer tracks, or should I say the non-regular or weekly tracks like Path Valley, Bedford, which I think will, kind of maybe spicing that up, just a little bit. But I was glad to see all the promoters, come together.
I agree. I think that is the biggest positive. Getting all the promoters in the same room. And I also think hashing out something where, hey, you're going to run, we're not going to run against you. That's been a huge problem in central Pennsylvania for a long, long time. I like that. I like that they're doing that, but the fringe tractoring is a problem for this reason. Bedford is 2.5 hours away from me. And you're going to ask teams to drive 3.5 hours on a Sunday and then drive 3.5 hours back on a work night. I think that's too much. I think getting to Clinton County on a work night or a work day is going to be difficult. I think Path Valley, they're not near as far as Bedford, but it's still out there. Especially for a team like Tyler Ross, who's based out of University Park, which is near Philly. And those are kind of the guys you want. So I think it depends. I mean, we're going to see how it works out. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they were all in a room talking, I think that opens the door to more of that down the road, or more cooperation down the road. So from that standpoint, I think that's good.
I tend to agree. One thing, like with Bedford, Path Valley, Clinton County, pretty much 3 different, shall I say, layout of tracks.
Yeah.
Bedford's probably the closest to like a Port Royal, but not anywhere close to what Port Royal is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's modeled in that same, what do you call it, 50-0 fairground track.
Yeah.
But Path Valley, 1/4 mile, Clinton County, what is that, like 3rd mile or something like that?
Yeah, I've actually never been to Clinton County. I've never been there. I've wanted to get there, and I'm always out of the area when they race.
Yeah, I have never been there, but that's going to be absolutely on my hit list for this year.
Yep.
Is to go to Clinton County. I've watched it on Billy Dietrich's channel, and it looks like, nice facility, good, looks like nice little racetrack, and definitely going to be up there. One thing that you had said when we're talking promoters, and I seen you was talking to the promoter there with Babs, but something that I go back to with one of your deep dives, I enjoy the deep dives a lot, was what Steve Beitler said. When somebody, and I'm a regular fan of Port Royal, so, the ticket prices, they vary. But one thing there that Steve Beitler brought that I thought was absolutely 100% correct is, a fan comes to, and that's going to pertain to this PA Sprint Series, is Steve Beitler said that, fans come to the track with a certain amount of money.
Yes.
And if you take $25 to get in, and then, you know, a $10 hot dog, and then try to sell them a $25 t-shirt, something's going to give. And I think, you know, back to what he said, where he would print the shirts, you know, and sell cheap t-shirts because it was advertisement. And I think that there's something that the PA Sprint Series, you know, could look at, you know, but, you know, I know it's about money.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I agree with Steve. I think people have a set amount of money that they'll spend, and I don't think they care which part they put it into. You know, like you said, if you lower the cost, you know, some promoters will say, "Oh, you're giving it away." I think they'll spend more at the concession stand. I think they'll spend at the merch stand. Then I think you'll get their money. It just won't all show up at the gate. So I agree with you. I agree with you
I like
a lot on that.
I liked what the guy previous said, you know, have a college student night,
Yep.
you know, high school student night,
Yep.
or whatever, a seniors night, whatever, something to just get people in.
Agreed. Yeah, I agree. No reason to even elaborate. I think you're right.
Yep. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking the
Yep,
time to
no
speak
problem.
with me, and hey, great chat. Keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it, and thank you for calling.
Hey, have a good night.
Yep, you too. All right, let's get through these chat questions. Jeremy, could this new PA point series be an opportunity for some drivers to move to PA who have big 410 aspirations and use it as a step to gain experience and not have to travel? I just don't see that happening at this point. I don't think it's that big yet. I think that would take some time. Maybe if it does grow from a financial standpoint to where they're paying, say, $8,000 and $10,000 to win, which I question whether that will happen because of the strain on tracks. But let's say hypothetically it would, then I could see that happening. I don't see it right now. Maybe you get a Western PA guy like an AJ Flick to think about it, because he's not going to see anything like that out there. But then there's the competition standpoint too. It's going to take you a while to beat the Danny Dietrichs, the Anthony Macris, the Chase Dietz when they do show up. And somebody said to me about Cap Henry, that this would be good for Cap Henry. Well, the problem is Cap Henry's never really fared well in central Pennsylvania. Now, it could be he never had the right equipment or team to do that. Maybe they had, I hate to use the term smaller motors, but motors that didn't put out as much horsepower on the big tracks in this area. They're not as slick as Ohio. Maybe that was why. I don't know, but it's hard to do well here if you're not a national touring guy. So I think that could keep some people away. And I just don't think it's in its infancy stage. So maybe down the road, but I think it would have to grow even more for that to happen. Where is the line in the sand for the little guy or mid-level teams to stop relying on the tracks and series and make the choice to better themselves? I think it's all financial. And I that's one I can't answer. I think, and I assume you're pointing to the Facebook post, but it doesn't need to be said. They're still your customers. Like, trust me. If you think that sometimes I don't get inquiries on social media or email where I'm not like, ugh, you're mistaken. But I don't say, it's no point to ridicule anybody about it. It just isn't. So, I mean, you gotta, I don't know what the line is. It's finance. It's all financial. And perception is reality. So I can't answer what that is. And I think it probably the goalpost move for every team. I don't think there's one. I think teams definitely got to know their limitations. I think teams, but they show up for outlaw shows. And some don't belong there. Trust me. They're off the pace by 2 seconds. You don't belong there. But in this sport, there's no qualifications. So again, I don't know what the answer is to that. I wish I did, but I don't. I think it's probably different for every team. Have you ever seen a better crew chief than Carl Kinzer? No. Nope, I haven't. Second is probably you start getting into Davy Brown and Ricky Warner. But Carl Kinzer's still the best in my mind. And I think it was preparation, the way he came to the track, the way he did things. And look at his tree. Ricky Warner's part of the Carl Kinzer tree. Justin Adams is part of the Carl Kinzer tree. I think Barry Jackson is part of that tree. So Carl Kinzer to me is the best crew chief who's ever lived. A caller mentioned Charlie Garrett closing up shop on the show the other week. Do you have the scoop on that? No. I mean, I just heard it. He was done. I mean, he's an older gentleman, wealth of knowledge. I don't know if he's selling it to somebody or I don't have the particulars on that. Charlie's always been kind of quiet and keeps things real low key and close to the vest. So I've not heard anything on that. I just heard that yes, he was calling it a career. I'm from the West Coast. What PA track should I go to this year? If you catch a weekend, you can't go wrong with really any of them because they're not going to be like anything you've seen. The Grove has the history. Port Royal and Lincoln, the racing's pretty good at both. BAPS, the racing's really good, and it's kind of a tweener. BAPS is kind of the perfect size in the banking. So I favor the Grove only because of the history. Everybody knows Williams Grove. Everybody knows who's won there and who's on that win list. So I would definitely make a weekend. The best time to come is Speed Week. Speed Week is the perfect time because you get all of them in a short amount of time. So if you can make Speed Week happen, come in, say the Monday of Speed Week, you're going to catch Lincoln, Grandview, Hagerstown, Port Royal, and the Grove. And you're catching all of them. If you come in Sunday, you can catch BAPS, which I would do. I would go Sunday to the following Saturday. You're going to catch every track you need to at least once. It's really good. Carl Kinzer tree to think about: Scott Gherkin, Justin Adams, Ricky Warner, Willie Kane, Cale Kane, Scotty Martin, Dennis Kohler. Absolutely. The tree is huge. Carl Kinzer is the best to ever do it. And then you start getting into Ricky Warner and Davy Brown Sr. Jeremy, when are you going to admit that High Limit and Woo Split is ruining the sport? Because I don't think it's ruining the sport. Somebody needs to tell me how it's ruining the sport. Does Lincoln and Port Royal have 410s the same night a lot of Saturdays in 2026? Will you be going to all the new series races? I will not be going to all the new series races. I probably will not. I'm not going out to Bedford. I'm just not. I'm not going to travel 3 hours to basically a local show. That's not happening. And I think I still got to determine what my travel schedule is going to be this year. I know I'm going to be in Vegas. I know I'm going to be in Volusia for the Outlaws. I know I'll be at the Kings Royal in Knoxville. I'll probably be at Huset's this year, and I'd like to get to the West Coast. And then I'll see where everything else falls. You know, you want to cover for the website, you want to cover all the big events. And obviously there's so many of them now, I can't get to all of them. I'd like to get the Eagle at some point. So I will not be covering all the series events, but Lincoln and Port Royal, I didn't see Lincoln's schedule yet. There's going to be some plain local shows or weekly shows where they run against each other. It's unavoidable. But they've been doing it for decades. Like, this isn't new for them. So, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with that. When they have a bigger show, that's when I think, when it's a higher purse and you need as many fans as you get, that's when I think they need to lay down for one another. And that's what they're doing this year. Might as well write Freddie's name on the PA Posse series. Champ check. He never leaves PA. I don't think so. I will take Danny Dietrich to find a way to win this thing somehow, some way. So Freddie's got to be better at Port Royal. He has been awful at Port Royal. And there's obviously, I think, 9 races at Port Royal. And Danny's better at Port Royal. So, we'll see. I'm not ready to write that check yet. I'd write it to Dietrich. Jeremy Elliott, what are your thoughts on Greek yogurt? Shut up. I think it's nasty. I tasted it. It's nasty. I had vanilla Greek yogurt a few months ago. It was nasty. Didn't like it. But thank you for the question. Will the PA series take teams away from either Woo or High Limit? No, it's not. They pay too good. Will Justin Whittle run PA Posse series? No. I don't think you'll see him run the whole series. No. Oh, I saw I had a bad take. I don't know what my bad take was. Got to elaborate. When will USAC release their schedule going to SmackDown in 2026? Maybe Eastern Storm. Yeah, I mean, they just ended their USAC midget season, so I would assume it'll come out around PRI. I know they've been calling around to some tracks in the area, so Greek yogurt. Ugh, it's awful. I hated it. Oh, didn't like it. What if High Limit is sponsored by Greek yogurt? I still don't like it. It's not going to make me like it. How about Brady Bacon running PA Posse 410 Sprint Series? I doubt highly that 21's going to come in here and run that much. That thing's not based here. That would shock me. And I don't think the 20 can run that many races. I just don't see that. Instead of running the dash, why not more King of the Hill, 1 versus 1 fastest moves on? I'm okay with the fastest moves on. I don't like the whole one in front of the other because, again, starting lane is such a big deal. If they can do it quickly, I'm okay with it once in a while. I don't want to see it every night. Speed of shows got to matter. And sometimes those King of the Hills just drag. So, yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I can handle it once in a while, but then you get into format. You don't want a different format in a series. You don't want a different format. You want to try and stick to it as much as you can. Is PRI open to the public? Not that I know of. No, you have to apply to get in. Why race 47 races and only count 44? What kind of point series is that? To me, if you need mulligans, you don't have the right number of races. So I agree with you. No reason for mulligans. It's a gimmick. Anything on Steve Snyder Jr.? No. I know a couple rides he was up for and they didn't materialize. So I haven't seen much on it. So other than that, he didn't get those rides, and I don't know what he's going to do next year. Jeremy, Brad Sweet mentioned his start season off. What? Mentioned his starts this season will come in a car that's TBD. Any insights? Yeah, I think it'll be a West Coast deal. I don't think it'll be. I mean, I've heard different things. I don't think it's going to be Rico Abreu's car. I know that was thrown around for a while. I don't buy that. Talking to Rico, he doesn't have time for that. He has enough going on. His own stuff has to move to TSR. I don't think he's going to run against his own equipment. I don't think any driver wants to run against his own equipment. So I would say it's probably going to be a West Coast deal. Probably the Kozlowski deal, or because he can run. Think about it. He can start at Vegas. He can run all those, 3 weekends there. Then he can run the swing through California. That's a lot of races. Then he can run the 4 races with the Outlaws if he chooses to. So you could get to 20 races real fast. Up here in SK Mod country, Stafford, made it a point to get to my first 410 wing sprint car race at Bridgeport. Seeing them live is crazy fun compared to seeing them on TV. Yeah, I mean, look, I think it's a good spectator sport. Sometimes on TV, I know now High Limit and the Outlaws is different because they kind of push their shows through. But I've been home and watched local shows. Man, is it drag. Oh, God, I thought it was never going to end. So, yes, going to a track, you're with your friends. You can talk. You can walk around. You can see different things. If you buy a pit pass, you can go down there. So, yeah, the in-person experience is definitely better than TV. And I would implore everybody to go to their local track or travel to a track to see a race. I think that's how this sport's going to survive. Jeremy, is this Sugar Bear character a buddy of yours? He sure seems to chime in a lot. I mean, I talked to him. He's a good guy. I met him I met him twice, actually. I met him at Knoxville once, and I met him out in Wisconsin this year. Good guy. He likes to get things riled up. He's amusing. So yeah, he's okay. He's okay. See, SprintCarUnlimited merch by 2026. One thing at a time, buddy. One thing at a time. When I get back from PRI, I will work harder on the merch thing. So if I can get Sugar Bear to purchase a year subscription to SprintCarUnlimited.com, then maybe I'll be able to get merch. He can even scan the QR code on the screen and he'll be set. Talking about Carl Kinzer, is Dennis Kohler, aka Dink, still around in PA? I've not seen him recently. But Sugar Bear has a subscription. Get your friends to do it. But I appreciate it. I've not seen him lately, so I don't know what he's up to. Outside of 410s, what is your favorite dirt division to watch? you know, this is going to probably not go over well. I like Legends because I'd like to get in one and race it. I just think they're funny. But I like Lucas. I like the really good late models. I like the really good modifieds. I like excellence. I like the top tier. I'm a little bit of an elitist. I admit that. But I don't mind Legends. I don't mind 360 sprint cars. Modifieds. I used to watch modifieds. It's what I grew up on. In fact, first 5 years, actually the first 7 years of going to racing, it was Super Sportsman and modifieds. And then, I don't mind a good late model race. I might, in fact, Lucas Oil is going to Babs Motor Speedway this year, and I might check that out. I'm anxious to see Lucas Oil at Babs. So it's something I might check out. I mean, so I don't really hate any type. So who's going to win the Gateway Dome Nationals? I have no idea. If Davenport's there, like Davenport, Pierce, somebody like that. I don't really know who's good at that race. Like who's good in the Dome. I think Shepard's due, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He's been close this year for some big shows. So I don't know. All right. Good deal. That's it for tonight. I appreciate everyone joining the chat, everyone who called, and we're going to continue to have shows during the off season. And next week I will be coming to you from a hotel room at PRI because I fly out Tuesday. So again, I appreciate everybody joining the show, and we'll be back next week. Stay tuned.